We're here in Lecco, Italy for the highly anticipated semifinals matchup between two U.S. teams, Seattle Riot and DC Scandal. These teams will face off in a rematch of the semifinals from the USA Ultimate Club Championships last year, Brian.
Let's take a look at our Sky Magazine keys to the game. Riot and Scandal in this heavily anticipated matchup. Looking at Riot, the team that cried wolf, they're going to be afraid of Sandy Jorgensen just a little bit. On the offensive side, they actually have a call, wolf, for when she's roaming deep. Sometimes Sandy Jorgensen can draw 3 defenders on a break. It's going to be important for Riot to work around her. Also for them, they had a really good game against Uno where they pressured the handlers, and talking to Andy Lovestuff, the coach of Riot, that they played tight handler defense, and they expect that to carry over into this game. And looking on the other side, we'll take a look at Scandal. And talking to Coach Dutchy, the game is not on paper. He was telling us that he thinks a lot of people are looking at Riot as the best team on paper, and he said, thankfully, that's not where the game is played. They have a lot of confidence coming in this game and maybe can embrace that underdog role. Looking at their defensive strategy, they want to clog the downfield and they want to make Riot work. It's going to be interesting to see how this works out as a result of Riot liking to swing the disc back and forth. Both of these teams are going to go at each other with everything they have. It's going to be a great game today, Liam.
And let's take a look a little bit at why this Riot team is so much stronger this year. You see 2 of them right now from what Coach Andy Lovestuff called the ACL crew. Number 4, Rory Titcomb. Number 25, Alyssa Weatherford. They were out last season with a torn ACL. One of the reasons why Riot didn't make it as far as they would have liked to, falling to Scandal in that semifinals game. But the 2 girls back in action. Another player, Sarah C.O. Davis from the University of Washington Element, also back after a torn ACL. So Riot healthier and stronger than ever going into this game. I'm Liam Rosen from Sky Magazine here with Brian Jones. If you're tuning in for this game, staying up late on the West Coast of the United States, send us some tweets. We'll be reading out the best ones live on air. You can find me at Skied_Liam Rosen. You can find Brian Jones. Well, there he is right there. No look Scuber.
Scandal's going to start off on defense, and that brings Opie Payne with the disc and Sandy Jorgensen. Sandy Jorgensen has the elite level athleticism in the women's game. Very comparable to Bo Kittredge of the men's game. Exciting to watch. If you've never seen her before, she'll roam in the deeps and try to make any single play.
Weatherford finding Sarah Griffith, the World Games player. Griffith into the center to Kwai.
Pochi defense here from Scandal right off the bat.
Ambler swings back to Weatherford. Weatherford still with the disc as Rory Titcomb makes the crossfield cut. And no movement from Riot downfield. Weatherford on the blow-by cut. Riot unable to gain meters.
Scandal clogging downfield with their handler defenders, not allowing any progression.
Dom to the end zone, but a D from Sandy Jorgensen.
And just the ability for her to make up ground is incredible. She's playing off of Cardenas there and able to just make up that ground, no problem whatsoever. She's going to bait Riot into throwing those discs all day long. And the wind is starting to pick up here, Liam. It's been relatively calm throughout the week, and this could change the way this game is played.
Allison Maddox goes the other way for Scandal. She'll rip it deep. Jorgensen is there with Cardenas on her. Jorgensen leaps up and makes the grab. And with a flick to space from Jorgensen to Beach, Scandal breaks for first blood.
Getting nearly double happiness. Sandy Jorgensen is such a potent threat. Did a game in the U.S. Open where she was actually triple teamed going downfield as a result of it being a very windy game. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a triple team being drawn. But that's the power of Sandy Jorgensen and what she brings to the table.
Ulti-World once called her in a recent statistics article one of the pure deep defenders in today's game, men's or women's. Jorgensen getting it done on this last point on both sides of the disc, baiting the poach D here on Cardenas. And then on the other end, Maddox ripping it deep. So Scandal will line up again, looking for another break. Riot captain Alyssa Weatherford and coach Dutchy for Scandal having some words with their team before the second point of this game.
Riot's wanted to come out and establish using their units of chemistry. They have several players that play together regardless of offensive and defensive lines. Scandal off to the start they wanted. It's difficult to tell what the wind is doing at this point in time. It's pretty breezy up where we are, but we're about 15 feet, 20 feet off the ground. Whereas you can see the stands, the flags aren't waving at all. There may be no wind on the field.
Weatherford breaks into the middle to McKibben.
Still flat marks from Scandal, sagging into the lanes and forcing Riot to take their time.
Sarah Davis into the end zone. Weatherford got free with no deep defense.
Jorgensen was not in the backfield in her usual position. Came back to guard up front. No downfield defense available.
So Weatherford puts the first point on the board for Riot as their offense holds. Seattle Riot celebrating their 15th year as a program this year. The team was founded in the year 2000.
They've won a couple of UPA championships on the way, and world championships as well. After the WTO riots in Seattle in 1999, they took the name.
Riot often criticized in recent history for never being able to make it to the final. They are a team that has looked very strong on paper, but have previously struggled against perennial rival San Francisco Fury.
They just had a particularly difficult quarters game, having to break for the win on Universe Point. Kelly Johnson with a monster D.
It was actually Jelly Boyden with that D. There's a video up online. If you go to Luke Johnson's, or I believe Seattle Riot's Vimeo account, you can see the layout catch D from Jelly, the former PLU, Pacific Lutheran University Reign standout, won a D3 national championship with them. Actually commutes to Riot practices. She's living in near Portland, doing a master's degree. So Raha Mosafari picks up for Scandal. Raha, a world's only pickup from Scandal. She generally plays for Philadelphia's AMP. They were looking around, needed more handling power. And doing some scouting, Raha was fairly local. Philadelphia not too far away, and great defense from Riot as Raha's gonna have to put it up line.
You can see the carryover and the pressure that the handler defenders are bringing.
And a drop from Raha.
A very close defense by Riot to start off this possession. It didn't necessarily force that error, but it gets inside the offenders' heads when there's that close defense.
Titcomb inside, break, but it's D'd by Jenny Fay. A strip is going to be called from Charlie Mercer.
We were on the backside of this play from our vantage point, but it looks like that was a clean D. We'll have to see a replay.
Here's the backhand rip from Titcomb.
Close. Didn't look like rotation was stopped. Maybe the right call in this case would be a foul contest.
My view on strip calls is no one really knows except the player who had their disc in their hand. There's just too close of a call on whether that rotation was actually stopped when you have the disc.
I think players often think they have rotation stopped, but you don't know when that disc is actually spinning. It takes a lot of vantage points to understand what's going on. A lot of players can feel the disc hit their hand. It doesn't mean they had it in the grasp.
So Titcomb checks the disc back in. Swinging to Stern. Cross field to Kelly Johnson. Titcomb again into Griffith. Back out into space for Rory Titcomb. Shira Stern finding Mercer.
Scandal Marks playing very far off. You can see the space between the throwers. They don't want to allow any breaks. They're just allowing swings at this point.
Near D from Scandal, but Griffith with it into Johnson. Titcomb finding the holes through the stack, but it's too far. And a mistake from Charlie Mercer. Had a chance to go up and get that disc early, but it floated, I think, faster than she would have liked.
I'm not sure still if the wind is affecting play on the field. A simple overthrow, a couple of miscues by both sides. Scandal still up the first break. And they'll come back with a side stack, isolating a cutter underneath. Zanheiser pushing the defender out, or offender out.
Mozafari will send it deep. Forehand Huck. There's 3 Riot defenders under that disc. And it's D'd by Boyden.
Huck comes up short. Great defense and hustle by Riot.
No defenders coming in. No mark on Boyden. She can take her time. Titcomb to Griffith. To Mercer. Rory thinking about the deep shot. She's been so great with those backhand breaks through the middle of the field. Johnson. High release into Boyden. Boyden, the flick into the end zone, and that's going to float out of bounds. So a couple of mistakes early for Seattle Riot.
Scandal doing a good job of forcing what they want in terms of making Riot go side-to-side movement, which Andy Lovestuff actually said was what they were expecting to happen, and they felt great about that point of the game. They haven't been able to convert here on defense, and Scandal has not at the same time has not been able to convert on offense. Both teams having miscues as the timeout's taken, and Scandal will talk it over.
Liam Rosen from Skyd Magazine here with Brian Jones on Skyd Magazine's coverage of the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships. This is a semifinal matchup here in Lecco. So after a couple of mistakes early, possibly affected by the wind, both teams will come back in with Scandal having to work it all the way back down the field. Jenny Fay with the disc.
And they haven't seen the wind at all this week. It's been very calm, just very still throughout here in Lecco, Italy. After the rains came, we've had some nice weather. As you can see, the field is still a little bit torn up.
Fay's gonna put it deep. Defenders are there, and Griffith boxed out by Ashley Daly. Daly to Mozafari. Far side into the end zone. Scandal again with the score, 2-1.
Scandal preserves their break. Riot had the opportunities at the end zone several times. Riot, I think it wants to continue with that game plan. They have not been able to get comfortable with the fact that Scandal is trying to clog the middle as much as possible on defense and force those swings. Again, Andy Lufsa said, if they do that, we're happy to swing the disc around. That works into our game plan very well. Scandal has executed a tiny bit better to start off this game.
Still, though, a bit of luck for DC Scandal as the low throw comes in, received by Daly, who was able to turn around at the right moment and box out Griffith looking for the D.
more defense here from Scandal. OP Payne and Jorgensen come back on the field. There's two deadly weapons in this game. Take a look at the replay. Two receivers almost got it for Scandal.
It was one of those throws that may not have been the best execution, but works out anyway.
It's exactly like the back shoulder throw in the NFL, where the defender is pursuing the right angles, but if the disc is underthrown whatsoever, it allows the receiver to come back underneath without the defender aware of what's going on.
Scandal had an easy quarterfinal game. Seen in our live stream yesterday against Revolution, we expected Revolution to come out with more fire, but they looked tired, and Scandal with an easy rest. Riot, on the other hand, nothing easy about their Universe Point win over Uno in a game that Coach Andy Loveseth said should have been the final.
Very competitive game. They were up 8-6 at half, and then got broken at 16-15. Showing a lot of courage and staying with that game.
Bayshire for Riot, over the top to Ambler. Ambler into the end zone, Hannah Kwai not yet in. And Kwai finding Dom Fontenette for the score. So Riot answers back with one of their own, 2-2, tied up here in Italy.
Riot looks a little bit more comfortable in that possession of navigating the poaching and just the flat marks that Scandal is trying to clog the middle with. Riot will have to continue to swing the disc, continue to be patient. This will also allow Scandal to make an adjustment at some point in time, and I'll expect this to happen relatively midway through maybe the first half or into the second. Dutchie knows that when you poach and you make a team go slow, you can then put on the pressure, and Opie Payne is very good at doing that. Jorgensen can poach the downfield lanes, instead is ending up guarding Cardenas pretty much in the handler position as opposed to roaming in the deep position.
So Hannah Kwai finding the end zone for Seattle Riot. Both teams tied up early. Kwai, a former Brute Squad player. Many of these Riot players very involved in the community. Players gain experience and also do some recruiting from coaching. Many of them are high school coaches. Kwai is no different. She coaches at Nathan Hale High School in Seattle. Pull out of bounds for Riot.
We have more coverage coming up today on Sky Magazine, including the men's semifinal, Johnny Bravo versus Revolver. That'll be after this game, and then we'll have the women's Masters final streamed here on Sky Magazine.
Daly looking around for a dump, gets it off to Johnston. Johnston sending it deep. Jenny Fay's gonna have to run this one down. It's too far.
Unfortunately, that was a misfire, but it was a great play. You saw three cutters flood to the middle of the field, almost forming a vertical stack out of the host stack and allowing Faye to sprint deep from a handler spot. Very tough to defend and no defensive help available.
Rory Titcomb back up the field for Riot. Titcomb cross-field swing. Idy helps it stay in. Riot, though, needs to get it out of their end zone. Tight defense from Scandal, but Idy pops it into Titcomb with the inside break. Titcomb far side to Burstein. Titcomb floats it in, saved by Griffith. And Griffith's gonna send it deep. That shot, though, out of bounds. So miscues and turnovers.
Both teams having trouble hitting on their hucks, and the wind is definitely blowing and swirling in certain directions. You can't be fooled by the flags being still. We feel a breeze coming through up here. It's going to affect the hucks at those heights, and you've seen both teams just not had their usual chemistry and usual execution.
Daly. The upline cut to Mazafari. Into Frey under. And Frey easily finds Molly Roy. Scandal up 3-2.
Scandal preserving that break. Which team can adjust in the wind is going to be very critical in these next few points because they haven't played with wind all week. All of their strategy is designed around this calm weather. Clearly that's been going on, and the Hucks haven't been working. So which team can either go for the 50-50 opportunity with, say, Scandal with Jorgensen? As we take a look at the replay, Luke Johnson actually joining us as the sideline camera, providing the slow motion technology you see here on Sky Magazine. So which team, though, can adjust to that first? Can Riot be patient and work it down the field, or can Scandal use their athleticism on defense and put the disc to the end zone and huck and hope for a little while and see if that percentages are a little bit better? Because both teams haven't been able to really huck it or work it up the field efficiently. It's been a lot of turnovers, a lot of miscues already, and when that starts to happen, being patient doesn't always work. The percentages start to favor risk-taking and appropriate risk-taking, which means getting power positioning and sending those hucks really far deep and just knowing what your throwers can provide.
Opie Payne with the pull for Scandal. It's blading. Going to be knocked down by Ambler to Weatherford.
And you see a 3-3-1 zone right away, an adjustment here with Jorgensen deep. Jorgensen has two, but Riot will have to look to be patient. And this is a big advantage for Scandal with Jorgensen back. You can really close in with those 6 players, tightening around all 5 players for the Riot Cup.
So it'll be Davis, Weatherford, and Ambler back as Fontenette receives as the popper. Lots of noise on the Riot sideline. Ambler, far side to Davis. Back to Weatherford. Catherine Lawson is open on the wing, but Riot not going to take any chances.
Beach is also playing very far back with Jorgensen, and I think I would take my chances at this first possession if I'm Scandal as a result of having Jorgensen back there. Riot has a little bit in their head that Jorgensen, they don't want to throw to those positions. Jorgensen already got the first D. There can be some intimidation. Really tighten up and see what you can get.
Riot is having trouble with the zone. Not anymore, though, as Smalls Lawson with it into Davis. When Ambler breaks through the cup for the first time. And it's a Blady throw to Fontenette. She comes down with it, finding Kwai to Davis. So Riot right on the end zone line. Davis, floaty throw, grabbed by Weatherford. And Ambler, a miscommunication. Thought Weatherford was going to continue the cut, just trying to jam it into that tight space, and this will give Scandal the opportunity for a break.
Defense is all about getting an offense out of their rhythm. There were several passes there that were floaty and opportunities for Ds, and then Ambler looks to Jorgensen in the end zone, doesn't see Weatherford at first, and then Weatherford stands still, stops moving, waiting for Ambler to make eye contact. Ambler sees her for a second, expects her to keep moving. There's the miscommunication and the turnover.
Opie Payne. High release to Jorgensen. Calling for the undercut. The nice help D from Davis shuts that one off. Back to Connor. There's a call downfield.
You can see the pace of Scandal's defensive offense. Jorgensen, a little bit of miscommunication downfield with some cutters asking for some things down as they were going through. Jorgensen was open, and there's not been an urgency by the Scandal squad to keep moving it quickly. So there's not a fast break going on whatsoever.
O'Connor finding Beach. Beach was injured in that last game. We didn't know if she was going to be able to make it for this one. Payne, back to Beach. Beach to Sarah Ito. Ito swings at a hand block from Hannah Kwai.
Kwai with a great mark. Close, but not too close, and great read That's why you see a lot of times with the Japanese throwers, they practice so far of extending out so that way the hand block is difficult to get. One of the things you can look up on Rise Up in the first episode of Season 6 is about extending your length and be able to break the mark more effectively.
Kwai into Weatherford. Scandal chasing a bit. Ambler to Davis and a drop disc. And Opie Payne calming her team down, telling Scandal to take their time.
Miscommunication, another miscue by, in this case, it's Sarah Davis, and it looked like she was unable to look the disc in, maybe affected by just the throw being a tiny bit too high. Still a catchable disc.
Payne into Jorgensen. Jorgensen looking dump. Tight dump defense from Riot. Finally gets it off to Ito, who comes in to help. Ito up to Beach, who saves it. Smalls not able to get the D. And a timeout called by Beach.
I like this timeout call as a result of just not having much going on downfield for Scandal. They're discombobulated on offense. There's not a rhythm of any sense. Last time they came out after a timeout, they were able to form a play, make it work very well. This is a pivotal break moment early in the game. You're going against the wind. You can extend your lead by 2. Great opportunity for Scandal. Another timeout. Beach will pick up the disc. And Jorgensen, you can see the stack very far to the left side of the field, giving a lot of space to the right side. The mark is going to be for a backhand. This could be a really great opportunity for a break.
Beach finding Bugler. Up line to O'Connor. Payne saves it. Payne, high release to O'Connor. Layout D from CO. A foul, though, on the throw called by Payne, it looks like.
Take a look here on the replay. See the layout D once again.
Sarah Davis batting it again once it's on the ground, making sure that one's D'd. It's not going to matter, though, as this disc is going to go back to Payne. Payne, high release into the end zone. Riot's there anyway. Khalees Cardenas with the D. Ambler, no options. Throws it right out of bounds. Ambler's having a tough go of it so far in this game.
Not a great possession and an odd turnover because could have been punted deep at least, and now you're going to give Scandal a short field.
So O'Connor with the disc in. Looking for the up line. Into the center of the field. It's overthrown. Saved by Scandal. Lauren Sadler, Payne falling down but staying with it. Opie Payne over the top. A layout from Riot, but Bugler still with it. Bugler back to Sadler. Sadler into the end zone for Jesse O'Connor. Just over the line, and that was a key mental advantage point for DC Scandal.
Fortune favors the bold, and in this case, Scandal. After getting a couple of advantages off of the miscues from Riot, Scandal has converted to form this 2-break lead. And it took a while. Both teams struggling here on offense to put the disc in the end zone.
So Scandal with the break going up 4-2 early. Dutchy, the coach, his second year as a coach of Scandal, coming out last year. He's from the DC area originally after a long stint in the San Francisco area where he played and coached San Francisco Revolver to several national championships. He has settled down buying a house in DC. Scandal with the pull.
Both of these teams came out with the idea that they wanted to win Worlds as part of their season. And both of them will be taking time off. With Dutchy, had the experience of Revolver winning in 2012 and then taking time off and not practicing until ECC. And he said it was just not a pretty sight, so they will only take a week off. Scandal will after this.
Foul called on the mark.
So Scandal will get at least one practice in of throwing the disc with each other before ECC, but they will get a short time off to rest after this and try to do the dreaded double peak.
Stern into Johnson.
Double peak referring to winning Worlds and winning USAU Nationals. Trying to peak at the right time in two parts of your season.
Shira Stern finding McKibben. McKibben, Titcomb. High release over the dump. So Riot, lots of passes as they work it down the field, about 2/3 down. Titcomb finds the space. The fast shot to Shira Stern.
Great movement by Riot, opening up those break lanes, and that's exactly what they wanted. Scandal doing a pretty good job with their game plan as well and overloading the middle of the field. Both of these teams are excellent throwers, and it's a matter of time before somebody makes a play.
And Titcomb's signature has been that low release backhand, finding Shira Stern in the end zone.
The gap between a catch and a D in this game is so low. It's just so it's so narrow to try to fit in a disc into this space. We saw Scandal try to march 5 yards, and it involved 3 layouts just to do it. And for Riot, that was precision breaking. Scandal not playing bad defense, and this is the type of game where you just need to continue to have confidence despite what happens. Keep pushing yourself, keep trying to push to win. The other team is going to make great plays. You're also going to make great plays.
So Scandal sideline getting loud, bringing the cheers, and Riot answers back. Players starting to arrive at that field complex, watching the semifinals matchup. Behind us as well, we have San Francisco Fury taking on Texas Showdown.
And a zone with one deep. It looks a little bit junky here from Riot. Now kind of becomes clearer into a 3-3-1.
A miscommunication.
And this is where Riot can seize the advantage. Scandal's offense was not operating very clean or efficient at the US Open. Riot has been playing some of their best ultimate in years, starting with the US Open and coming into this tournament.
Mercer to Stern. Swings to Weatherford. Stern, she's been so fast with that catch and release. Bradshaw finding Alyssa Weatherford again. Weatherford. Stern near the end zone now. Back in the hands of Weatherford, and Dom Fontenette with the smart cut.
Riot's able to get one of the breaks back. And this may be a game of defensive runs as a result of the defenses being very high-powered. Scandal's offense has not been consistent. Riot takes advantage of the miscommunication. And when we look at the playmakers on Scandal, they're on the defensive side. Opie Payne, Sandy Jorgensen. And as a result, that game becomes very exciting because who has the momentum? Who makes the adjustments first? Riot comes out with the junkie D. They made the adjustment right now. Scandal before that comes out, employed some zone, and got a miscue that turned into a break.
Dominique Fontenette, the veteran cut. She's the most senior player on this Riot team. Won the Callahan Award in 1997. One of the longest serving players in the Ultimate community, has a list of accolades behind her name on the World Games team twice, 2001, 2005. She never seems to give up. Played in the Women's Masters division as well in Japan in 2012. So Hannah Kwai will put the disc in. Offsides. And it'll be a repull. The game advisors that WFDF has put into place will be able to call offsides. They'll not be able to make the active call, but they can advise teams of the offsides opportunity, and teams can choose to take that or not.
Taking a look at Linda Kudo, the game advisor, observer from Canada.
Hannah Kwai pulling off. Alika Johnson will receive. Faye to Mazafari.
There was a call downfield, some contact in the horizontal stack. It's a game to 17 today. And we'll have cap at 100 minutes. Unless this game picks up, it may be capped. Again, the wind has been difficult to tell. We're about 15 to 20 feet off the ground. And it's a bit breezy up here, but the flags on the other side, which are about the same height, don't show any movement.
Play restarts. Faye over the top to Maddie Frey. Frey, Mazafari laying out, but it's overthrown.
The handler cuts and passes have been difficult for Scandal to perform on so far in this game.
Boyden, high release into the end zone. KK, Kate Kingery bringing the disc down. And Riot now up one as we see the turnover. Kingery sprinting immediately into the end zone.
With the way this game has been going and how many miscues have been happening, Scandal might want to push the pace a bit further downfield, or they need to get composure in their reset game. They have been unable to be consistent and perform. And as I said earlier, it's going to be a game of defensive runs. Riot getting their breaks back. Scandal performed early on. If Scandal can score, they'll be able to get back into this game no problem.
So Riot up one in a matchup that Riot looked better on paper. And down 4-2, Riot has rattled off 3 in a row to suddenly take a lead. Scandal, the defending national champion from USA Ultimate Club championships last year. In a windy final, they bested San Francisco Fury to end their streak. We have Fury and Showdown on the other field. Just a score update from that. That game is also close at 4-4.
There's an old saying with Ultimate: offense loses the game, defense wins it. And this will certainly be the case. We take a look at the zone, a 3-3-1. It flummoxed Scandal last time around. And with the handler miscommunications and being tentative on the resets, not a bad strategy by Riot.
So it's Hudson, Roy, and Johnston working as the back handler set.
You don't see a lot of attacking in the middle of the field, just dumping and swinging with the handlers. Nothing really through the three-person cup.
Johnston having trouble stepping around Stern's hard mark.
And just look at the space in the middle of the field. There's no white jerseys. Now we have some players come in, but as a result, it's very hard to get flow by just dump swinging this. You can dump swing the disc around a three-person cup, no problem. You can make it up the field. It just takes longer and more passes. But that plays directly into what Riot wants Scandal to do at this point in time. Make a lot of those passes, possibly pop a disc up into the wind and make a mistake. There's only one cutter coming in and out. There's no poppers in the middle of the field. I prefer to play zone offense with two poppers really attacking that middle, trying to get it, and then continuing and jailbreaking up the middle.
Scandal so far with a lot of short passes, not really gaining yards. Mazafari comes back in.
And there's the one pass that could open it up. Scandal has a chance to continue and work with this flow.
Molly Roy to Mazafari. Mazafari sending it deep. Daly can't make the catch.
That is a catch that has to be made in the semifinal. The throw wasn't perfect, but it was there. And into this wind and in these situations, that's a great leading pass. Daly has to make that grab.
A couple of drops from both sides. Weatherford checks the disc in to Titcomb. Titcomb back to McKibben. Finding Kwai. Kwai's going to put it deep. Dominique Fontenette has position. She runs it down. Davis is open on the other end of the field. Fontenette to Titcomb, who puts it into space for Sarah Davis. And the easy score from Riot off of the Scandal drop going the other way.
Scandal, just with the miscues, it's been about throwing and catching. It's not complicated, but it's still difficult in this wind and the pressure they're facing. Scandal's pacing is off. Riot's done a good job of the adjustments. And as expected, these two coaches will bring adjustments to the game. It's up to Scandal now to get it back on offense, put the strong defensive line out in the field, which actually looks like there's going to be some changes. We see Opie Payne coming on the line. And Beach and Jorgensen. Putting a little bit different personnel, some defensive players. You can expect to play some long points. In these games, Lou Burris likes to talk about it in college, is when it's windy and there's a lot of turnovers, focus on playing perfect defense. There's going to be miscues on offense. It can sometimes shake your confidence. It's very important to remember to put all the effort you can into defensive play and don't worry too much about the mistakes that are going to come.
So Riot up 6-4. Charlie Mercer will pull for Seattle Riot. Allison Maddox back in for Scandal. It's been a while since we've seen her. It'll be Maddox, O'Connor, and Opie Payne in the handler set. Pick call in the stack. Disc back to Payne. Payne, high release to Jorgensen. Daly to O'Connor.
With the person-to-person defense that Riot's throwing, you can see Scandal now can just go forward much more as opposed to having to dump swing the disc and taking their time.
Jorgensen out into space for Payne on the dump cut. Looks like it may be a strip call. Could be a foul. Is Boyden and O'Connor discussing it?
And take a look here on the replay. Hard to say.
Looked like a mostly clean bid. O'Connor will retain possession of the disc. Jesse O'Connor, the Callahan nominee this year out of the University of Maryland. And there's some discussion going on downfield. Game advisor has stepped in, possibly about another foul situation happening. Maddie Frey pointing deep. She wants the deep shot from O'Connor. It's not there. O'Connor finds Jorgensen on the dump. Jorgensen into Daly. The speedster finding Frey on the near sideline. Daly, O'Connor with the one-handed grab. Pick call in the stack.
You see the resets all going to the force side, all going up line. The marks aren't allowing the throws to go to the middle of the field and then to the break side, so Scandal is just pumping it up the sideline. This is not their usual handler sets, the defensive line coming onto the field.
It's a foul call. As Riot playing hard defense, disc check back in, O'Connor. Into the end zone. Deed by Riot. But there was no Scandal receiver in the area.
And the receiver held up, and that's a point where the thrower has to recognize what's going on. The receiver is seeing two defenders, and the thrower is saying, well, if you kept going, you would have been past the defenders with the way the defenders were moving. If you just see two defenders in that area where you're trying to throw the disc, you need to pump fake that and go with another option. And Scandal in that possession did not go backwards or did not go towards the middle of the field with their dumps at all.
Riot back the other way, ID to Boyden. Burstein runs onto it. Finding Mercer on the near sideline. Mercer into ID. ID. Back to Boyden. Sarah Griffith, far side. ID again, lots of passes for Riot, but the swing pass thrown too far. Burstein back on the mark.
Terrific opportunity on this fast break, but Scandal as a team was not committed to it. You see a lot of players just walking tentatively back to the disc. It does give Jorgensen an isolation.
But Jorgensen throws too far, and luckily for Burstein, as she looked gassed, trying to defend Jesse O'Connor.
A long point, both sides a little tired. You still have to commit to the fast break as a team in that situation if you're going to do it. Some confusion on where the disc is actually going to come back in. And a timeout called by Riot. They'll take some time and talk it over.
Players looking tired, trying to give them some rest. This is Sky Magazine's Liam Rosen with Brian Jones. During the timeout, excuse me, keep sending us your messages on Twitter as we see the replay from the D disc from Riot. Riot will pick up the disc after the timeout. You can find me at skied_Liam Rosen, Brian Jones at no_look_Scuber.
From my card.
Boyden will put the disc back into play for Riot.
And Pochi, look here, trying to be flat, trying to force swings, but that's not the case.
Bursty, no mark, finding Emily Becher. Becher, high release to Mercer for the Riot score, and Riot goes up 7-4.
And going back to our keys of the game, through as we saw at the beginning, was for Riot to pressure the handlers, and they thought they would have an advantage coming off their game against Uno, where they had to play very tight handler defense to get things going. They did a great job with that so far in this game. It's been paying dividends because Scandal can't get the disc off the sideline. They can't swing the disc. They can't get it to the break side. They only have one direction to go in, and that's forward. Riot has a great defensive advantage at this point in time, and if they continue doing that, it's going to be tough for Scandal to adjust.
So Emily Becher with the assist for Riot. She has picked up for the team. She's a world's only player, normally played for Brute Squad. She is a former player with Riot in 2010. Few players on Riot were unable to make worlds, especially handlers, so they were looking to add another handler to their squad.
And 7-4, Scandal needs to figure out their offense. It sounds simple, but it isn't. It's oftentimes very hard to make these types of adjustments mid-game when Riot has simply just been playing better since being down 4-2, a 5-0 run. The defense has been playing great. Scandal needs to respond. If Scandal can get just one goal on there, they can get the defense back out, formulate a game plan. They had the defensive line out there for an offensive possession. It's still not the same. The mindset is completely different when you come out in the field to play offense the first time. The fire isn't there, the intensity isn't there. Offense requires calm, skilled movement. Defense requires a little bit more fire and intensity. And more zone. You're trying to trap Scandal to the sideline.
Scandal had trouble with this zone before, and it's turned immediately from Johnston. Titcomb into Boyden. Boyden to Shannon McDowell. Finding Titcomb again. McDowell, far side, turnover.
Need to be better prepared than that. to handle an end zone possession if you're Riot. You're up by 3 against Scandal, the defending national champion in the U.S. You can go up by 4. This needs to be a goal.
Riot, though, will put on their zone yet again. Fay over the top of the cup to Sam McClellan. McClellan swings it far side to Roy, and Riot is now chasing. Back to Fay up the sideline. Fay finding Maddie Frey for the score.
Head coach of Fury, Maddie Sang, talks about how there are some pivotal moments in games where you find out afterwards, 3 or 4 of them, that they're just one score, but they can turn it around. The difference between 8-4 and 7-5 is huge. Riot would have then been looking to break for half, and said Scandal can now come back, get a point on the board, get their defense on the field, get Sandy Jorgensen operating the way they want again, make any adjustments, give their confidence to their offense. That was such a pivotal moment. And if Scandal can come back in this one, Riot has to look at that point and say, we missed one that could have given us a better advantage.
Riot offensive line back on the field as we look again at the swing pass and then the upline forehand to Maddie Frey. Frey, another Scandal pickup for Worlds. She normally plays with Atlanta Ozone.
There's been adjustments throughout this game. Teams throwing some zone to deal with the wind. Scandal started off by trying to clog the middle. And now is an opportunity, after seeing what Riot's been doing for several possessions after turn, to come out with a stacked defensive line with Opie Payne and Sandy Jorgensen.
Payne with the pull. It's going to land out of bounds, and that will give Riot a short field to work with. They'll walk it up all the way.
The wind is difficult to tell, but if anything, it's going to be an upwind right now for Riot, so the wind would be blowing from left to right on your screen. And just when you get a point to get some confidence, you give Riot an incredibly short field. Keep the poles in bounds. It's such an underrated part of the game that teams don't practice enough.
Titcomb into the space for Surge. Surge forehand, finding Cardenas.
Often it only takes one throw to open up the entire space. The long swing, so hard to defend. Now all of the defenders who were on the 4 side are out of position. Titcomb puts it out to space. Now the defenders aren't in the greatest position. Easy inside break for the score.
So Khalees Cardenas, a veteran of the Riot squad, she came to the team after having played on the open team at Seattle University. Developed her style as well with Seattle's second team Underground and finally on Riot.
Important possession for Riot as they can take half. Teams do not key in enough on this point, in my opinion. You can go into half up by 4, and if you score that last point, it can just generate a feeling of misery for the other team. A 4-point lead at half seems pretty insurmountable in some cases. We hear Riot saying, "I believe we will win."
I believe that we will riot is actually the cheer, a bit of a variation. Pull for Riot, great pull. Offsides, and that'll be a repull.
This is the role that the game advisors can fill. They call offsides or not offsides in every single one, but it's up for the other team to call it. Scandal taking advantage. They're trying to use USAU rules, but in this situation in WIFTF, it's going to be a simple repull. There is no penalty.
So Riot will have to do it again, and that's a mental advantage. They're such a nice pull. Rory Titcomb, widely considered the best puller in the women's ultimate game. Titcomb this time out of bounds.
Offside call works in the Scandal favor. Person-to-person defense. Scandal will try to go up win, and it's been very successful here for Riot to pressure the handlers, provide that tight defensive pressure that makes you go a little bit faster than you want to and make tighter throws.
Mozaffari into Daly. Daly gets the dump off to Mozaffari. Forehand too far. D'd by Kelly Johnson. And it's been the offensive mistakes from both teams that we've seen so far in the game, not necessarily the active Ds, as Titcomb will respond and throw that too far.
Even though it's a miscue in that situation, Riot's providing the pressure that's making Scandal make all of these mistakes.
Scandal with another shot. Alika Johnston will pick up. The Callahan nominee out of the University of Virginia. Johnston with the quick fake into Daly. Daly. Mozaffari with a flick deep. Mercer can't catch up, but Molly Roy unable to make the one-handed grab.
I think there's a little bit of confusion on the actual score. We're looking at the on-field scoreboard and it says 8-6, but I believe it was 8-5, and there has not been another score by Scandal. So we'll look to figure that out as we go. The Twitter, according to what we've been keeping track of, had 8-5.
Sure that one of the players will correct the official score very soon, if not one of the coaches.
All the Twitters we're looking at see 8-5.
Davis to Mercer. Deep. Dumps off to Kelly Johnson. Far sideline. Johnson back to Titcomb. Titcomb dump. Swing offense for Seattle Riot.
That will take it to half. We'll figure out the score throughout that. We have 9-5 here. I'm sure they'll convene to figure out what the actual score is.
Liam Rosen with Brian Jones on Skyd Magazine. It's been a half with mistakes from both teams. Overthrown deep shots. Both teams not shying away from hucking it deep.
Riot has been more effective with the defensive pressure. Scandal has not been able to take it. Scandal started off this game leading 4-2. Another miss, had the opportunity. And in this case, Scandal needs an answer to this defensive pressure. Offensively, they need to get it going.
So stay with us here as we go into halftime. We're going to have some videos of the huddles. Again, Liam Rosen and Brian Jones here on Skyd.
Promise that we're going to be right back in this.
It's no fun if we don't get to come
got
back.
This. You've got this. I know you do. You've got this. All right? Good. Let's get some touches on. Let's get some water. Let's regroup for the second half.
Your offense, when you pump fake, we're cutting under, and then we're getting open, and we're already being looked off at that point. Please stay with your cutters just 2 seconds longer while they get open on the unders.
Good.
Let's go.
All right,
Hey, ladies,
let's go. Keep fighting, White.
Hey, guys. Trust. Trust on 3. 1, 2, 3, trust!
Skide Magazine がお送りしました。
Skide Magazine.
Skide Magazine!
Skide Magazine.
Skide!
Meine Aufgabe ist dastehen und gut aussehen.
Skide Magazine! Guacamayas!
Sky Magazine.
Ooh, hey, trick shots. Can I try one? Oh, must have been the wind.
Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Ultimate Globetrotter. We're here on Boracay Island in the Philippines, home of the Beach Ultimate Kings of Asia, the fierce and speedy Boracay Dragons.
Thanks. Running on the sand's gonna get easier, but it doesn't.
So we are on our way to check out some cockfighting.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Boracay Open has always been the turf of the Dragons.
Most of the players are based here in the island. It's second nature to them to run on the beach.
When we train almost every day.
High knees in the water, swimming, sprinting on the beach. Do this after every single practice.
You know, it's what they do. They're beach ultimate players.
Movement is like, I won and 2.
The only thing we ask from them is to train. Train hard and play hard.
Younger boy. You have to think that this is already the championship game.
You have to aggressively send your kite back to 12, pull the bar.
We're here at Mandala Spa and Villas, about to receive an world-class massage.
It's not just about the game, it's also about our lifestyle here in the island.
The Dragons are the beach kings of Asia and maybe the world soon. It's now time also for us to share to the world what we know about Beach Ultimate.
Violation. Go! Bravo!
Time out.
And this is how I am honestly a better planner than executor. So this is I'm just full disclosure. Right. So my goal, one of my goals was under my wing because they're on teams and that's going to continue. But I want to get them under my wing and start developing an actual team. I'm not in the association. I'm not in my national association. I kind of do my own thing and I support the association whenever it's interesting. But because I'm so interested in the sport, I just get involved. I'm mostly you totally missed my point if you are right. They saw observers and then said no. That is not logical. You just, okay, I mean,
Honestly, the comment section has been amazing, all things considered. I have been very pleased with the lack of feedback.
One thing that could be interesting, so this is not a very nice thing to say, considering the Bruce is to have it. First of all, I don't think that we're going to have a stronger active enough UFC. At least I can't guarantee that soon enough. So I do think that it is important for the to be participating in these things as long as you guys are comfortable with it. And I'm coming from this, I'm coming from this thinking, wow, how can I benefit from something like this as well? So possibly having a couple of kids from different countries participate on a team like that would be a way to push the scene.
Got to spend energy in that spot. You've got to jump in and then go attack again. Let's show it to them. Let's make them recognize it. Let's make them think that they know what's happening, and then let's go really clamp down. Right? That means we're going to be more disciplined on the mark. Right? We're going to jump still in front and flat for 1 or 2 counts. Right? Enough to take away a transition hug. But then we're going to start moving our mark to no around like we usually do. But those are 2 things we're going to do on defense coming in. On offense, they're playing a real tight contact handler defense, right? Let's extend those handler cuts upfield and let's really fill from the back, from the cutter depth. We've been doing a pretty good job of that, but we can't stick with these handlers. These handlers a little too long. Let's have them extend and then really fill into the backfield, right? Let's really attack the arounds. Those are 2 strategic things, but more than that, more than any of that, we've got to take that step, that extra step to make some plays, right? Those inches that we've been giving up in the first half, we've got to make up for them and start getting them in this half. We're only a couple breaks out of this, right? A couple of breaks. Does anybody doubt it?
One at a time.
Nobody doubts.
One at a time.
One at a time. Takes a village, ladies. Let's do it. Underdogs.
Dictate on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Dictate!
When we get this definitions of U19s and all that stuff set, right?
Coming in after halftime, I'm Liam Rosen here with Brian Jones, Sky Magazine's coverage of the 2014 World Ultimate Club Championships. Brian, this semifinal matchup has been about defense.
And Riot has had the advantage just pressuring the handlers of Scandal. Scandal has not been able to reset the disc well or moving it around. A lot of prep talk by Dutchie at halftime, the Scandal head coach. They need to come out with confidence to be able to move this disc. And taking a look here at the zone, Riot trying to trap with the 3-person cup along the sideline, allowing some more options upfield rather than back.
That also allows Scandal to swing it across and gain meters, though, as Scandal very close to the end zone. Alika Johnston.
They're playing with confidence already, and you can see it in the body language. They're not tentative. They're not hesitating with their throws through their handler cuts.
Jenny Faye for Scandal. In the center of the field, Faye pops the disc up. Hospital pass. And a D from Riot.
As soon as things slow down and they have to make a decision, Scandal falters once again. This game can get really out of hand fast if they're not able to score on offense and be consistent with their resets.
Alyssa Weatherford to Titcomb. Titcomb's going to try a deep shot. Hannah Kwai guarded by Ashley Daly. Boxed out by Daly. It's going to be a foul call from Kwai.
I do not like this foul call. It was about beating your opponent to a spot. Daly able to beat Kwai to the spot and get out in front. And Kwai, I think some observers might disagree with me in terms of initiating contact, but this looks like a great box out.
It's going to be a retracted foul. So good spirit from Hannah Kwai. As Scandal works it back down the field. Jenny Faye. To Ashley Daly, and you can see why Daly's such a strong part of this team. She gets a lot of reps as a cutter on offense. Mazzafari sends it deep. That's going to blade, but be picked up by Samantha McClellan, who flips it in to Jenny Faye for the Scandal score.
What an important point to start out the second half. Scandal can now go back on defense. They've had the halftime to adjust. They've gotten their pep talk. Confidence is so important in trying to win. And we talked to Dutchie before the game. He doesn't want to come in with a team that thinks it's easy. When I asked him what he brought over from Revolver for the culture of Scandal, and teams that think it's easy and they're just going to march through don't win. It's about the battle. It's about the preparation, the journey through as a team, and a culture that promotes confidence and trust within your teammates. Scandal continuing to fight despite making some early mistakes. They can get back to what they do best, which is defense.
So Washington, D.C. Scandal going into their 6th year as a squad. This is their first appearance at a World Ultimate Club Championships tournament. They'll look to defend their title, 2013, last year's Club Championships, surprising the favorite, San Francisco Fury. Over in the other semifinal, things seem to be going the way of the West Coast as Fury also up on Showdown 9-6, and we see a turnover from Riot.
The defensive pressure has been great throughout this game by both squads, but that's just a miscue. Looking ahead, not securing the disc in your hands before continuing to play.
O'Connor working with Payne. Dumps back to Maddox. O'Connor hammer to the back of the end zone. And that's a tough catch for Sarah Ito.
I don't know how that was a better decision than not hitting Payne, who had separation and opening and position on her defender. Just odd decision-making here by Scandal in the first part of this second half.
That's the first hammer we've seen from either team all game. Alyssa Weatherford brings the disc back up. She's been such a big influence, continually working to get better as a handler for Riot, out all of last year with an ACL injury. She's been a stalwart figure in the Seattle scene. Turning over, though, as Fontenette can't get a hand on it. So Scandal now with another chance.
Certainly not clean, efficient ultimate by both squads. The game is ripe for the taking, and it's a matter of who can play more effectively in the second half.
Maddox and another drop. A messy point for both teams.
Catchable throws.
Ambler swings to Weatherford, who will take the timeout. So Alyssa Weatherford, executive decision captain of this team.
This timeout call is is okay. We do a lot of examination here on Sky Magazine of our timeout calls. I usually disagree with a lot of them. Sometimes you need to settle down, and I think that's up to the team of knowing themselves of what they need to do. In this case, the only thing Riot's doing wrong is not throwing and catching correctly. And I like to push the pace in these situations and just have confidence and move forward. If you're a little bit shaking, it can help to settle down, but I don't know what they're going to talk about in this huddle other than we need to throw and catch better, which really doesn't need to be talked about.
I don't think it's as much of a talk about huddle as it is a break in the play and settle the nerves, as we'll listen in.
The more we can move the ball, the harder it is for them to coach. Great. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Team!
So Weatherford checks the disc back in for Riot. Weatherford not sure the idea behind that throw, and it's easily D'd by Sandy Jorgensen. Gronval back to Frankie. Into Jorgensen. All Scandal has to do is stay patient and execute.
And that's been not an easy task for either squad. Multiple turnovers, miscommunications, catching and throwing.
There's a pick call downfield, so disc will stay in the hands of Sarah Ito. Ito to O'Connor. O'Connor finding Jorgensen, has the disc pop out of her hands. It's going to be called out by Ambler. She was bobbling the catch. The question is, did she have possession as she was inbounds?
I don't think there's any way for Jorgensen to actually know. And this is a call I believe the game advisors can rule on. And if I'm right, I'm going straight to them.
Game advisor is ruling the disc out. And not a ruling, I should clarify that. Game advisors do not rule on anything, but they are providing an opinion that the disc looked out of bounds. Jorgensen accepts. And regardless of your opinion on observers, referees, game advisors, you have to agree, Brian, they're better than what we had at past tournaments, which was the players making those calls. It is simply not possible in a semifinals game when your hands are concentrated on the disc to make that call.
Something that they can just provide perspective on.
Another drop by Sarah Davis. It looks like there was a foul. So bailed out a little bit is Weatherford.
Game advisors have helped move along stoppages that normally would be big-time stoppages in certain games, 15 to 20 minutes. We've seen in the past some very major stoppages, and as opposed now, it's an uncontested foul. But now we just see a couple of minutes as opposed to those very long stoppages, and they do help move the game along. It is a positive step.
Ambler finding Davis. Keeps it in to Weatherford. McKibben. Weatherford not liking the cuts from Riot. Gets it into Griffith. There's a call on the field.
Some discussion going on of Payne.
Griffith, it's hand blocked. Scandal goes the other way. Sarah Ito is wide open deep. And Maddox wants to put it to her, but it's too far. And this game is getting out of control.
Multiple miscues, misfires. The huck game has not been working consistently for either squad. The game is for the taking. Which team can play better on offense will win this game. There's turnovers all over the place. Can you convert?
This is not the style of play one would expect from these two elite teams. Seattle Riot coming out very strong early in the season, taking down Scandal in a game that was nowhere near close. They're still up 9-6.
Call down field. This will go back. Danius holding her hip. And we will probably be capped here in the semifinals. We are 18 minutes, 17 minutes now away from cap. +2 to the highest score.
Into Davis. Davis. Griffith. Back to Weatherford. Finds McKibben. Cardenas is being poached by Jorgensen. McKibben again, always dishing back to Weatherford. Fontenette into the end zone for Griffith. And Riot ends the marathon point with the score to go up by 4 points.
Good hold for Riot. Not letting Scandal back in this game. Scandal had multiple opportunities to convert.
So it's the savvy veteran Dominique Fontenette finding the World Game star, elite defender Sarah Griffith in the end zone for 10-6. Riot.
Payne playing close defense, but it wasn't enough. Griffith just able to come around the corner.
That highlight from earlier, actually a force-out foul. Probably should have been a stoppage.
Nothing was called, and there was no out-of-bounds called. None of the Scandal players were aware of it. Would have been discussed. Certainly would have been a foul call.
Would have been the same result anyway, I believe. Fury, and Showdown. Hold out of halftime. Fury is still up 10-7 in that game.
Thanks for the tweets from Mike Lawler. And as he said in that, he agreed with the hammer. They're going to look at that and scratch their heads. Thanks for listening in.
Lawler has been an integral part of this Riot team, as a series of email exchanges led to a role for him as an advisor. Riot has been shaped by their coaches over the past few years. Ben Wiggins, Scandal now on the doorstep. Johnston, the high release into Musafari for the score. Scandal evens it to within 3.
They've gotten their offense to work in the second half. The offensive line moving it well, moving it more confidently, and putting it into the end zone. It gives a chance for the defense. Can the defense convert? Will Dutchie make some adjustments as we're getting closer and closer to cap to bring some offensive players on as a result of being multiple turns and some sloppiness during points? These are the critical points. Scandal has already given up the lead. It may be too little, too late. They still have an opportunity, but they need to play near perfect to pull out this win.
DC Scandal takes the line again.
Shout out to the official photographer of the World Ultimate Club Championships, Ulti-Photos. Check out all the amazing photos, layouts, and plays we've seen on ultiphotos.com. We've seen some amazing games throughout this tournament. El Oso coming back on bad skid, down 8-4. Having to win by 2 to advance the power pools. They win 13-11. So the Buzz Bullets take down Ironside. Uno with a comeback against team from Australia.
Team Box from Australia falling to Uno in that game. And we have an all United States semifinals at Worlds. As Riot moves the disc back up the field, Titcomb. Bayshore back to Titcomb. Stern. And everything's moving through. Rory Titcomb is the center handler. The lower release break to Kwai.
I'm a little confused in why Scandal has gone away from their strategy of poaching. And not sure what adjustment was being made because it was working earlier in the first half. They were getting breaks, and then all of a sudden their offense got into a funk, not their defense.
Titcomb to Boyden. Stern, far sideline. Titcomb to Kwai. Kwai to KK. Riot working it back in. Lots of passes again. Emily Bayshore, the pickup from Brute Squad. Just 3 meters out of the end zone. As Kimberly Beach calls, we have a violation. Play restarts. Bayshore, high release backhand to Kwai in the end zone. There was a foul, though, before the disc was checked in. Bugler is going to take an injury substitution. She'll be replaced by Sarah Ito.
Riot moved the disc effectively. Scandal did not seem to have an answer defensively. It doesn't matter as they're not able to punch it into the end zone.
Sandy Jorgensen grabs the D. Payne's gonna put it deep. Beach is running. She has position on her defender, goes up with the right hand and has Sandy Jorgensen free in the end zone, who just needs to run down this disc. Scandal flying high with another point on the board within 2, 10-8.
Good fast break. Payne opens things up, sees the lane, delivers the throw. And the layout kills any opportunity to stop the rest of this point. Beach unmarked. At 10-8, this is now a game Scandal can get back into it. Critical defensive stand. They've had opportunities, and this could be tied right now if we're not for a couple of other miscues that we saw near the end zone and a chance for break.
So DC Scandal was focused on winning Worlds this year, put this team together in May, so Coach Dutchy admitted to us it's been a bit of a sprint getting the team ready for the World Ultimate Club Championships.
On the contrast, Riot started on April 2nd. They've been going at it for 4 months.
Riot really with a focus. They wanted to win Worlds and Nationals, the so-called double peak. Alyssa Weatherford brings the disc up to the brick mark for Riot.
In the zone, at least poaching in the middle of the field.
Cardenas sends it deep with the flick hook. Griffith runs it down with the speed and immediately dishes into the end zone for Dom Fontanet. It's going to be a travel call, though, on Cardenas.
Jorgensen and Cardenas talk it out. Trying to reenact the travel calls. Always a sight to see. No, you did this. And it's just going to be a contested call regardless of what happens.
A run through D from Maddox. Scandal can bring it to within 1. Maddox wants the blade to Jorgensen in the end zone. She has position and goes up with the right hand. So Scandal breaks again.
A game of runs. First, it was 2 breaks by Scandal to make it 4-2, then a 5-0 run to make it 7-4. Scandal with their own run, back within 1.
Maddox wanted that throw for a while. Cardenas poaching off, not able to shut down the blade to the end zone.
Drawing up the plays as they go. When you have Jorgensen, you have the mismatch. Maddox can take the time. There's an advantage there of not having your entire team come up with the play. You just have Jorgensen. I like that mismatch. Scandal should take advantage every single time with that.
So Sandy Jorgensen has been so big for this team. An elite defender out of the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
You can contact us on Twitter. We'd love to hear some more shout-outs. Here we both are checking our Twitter regularly throughout this game. Liam with Scott_Liam Rosen. Ryan Jones with no_look_Scoober.
Riot moves it back down. Titcomb with a loose mark. Griffith back to Titcomb on the run. To Kwai. The no-effort forehand to Griffith. And another easy score for Seattle Riot.
Payne has had a difficult matchup with Griffith in the second half. Griffith has been a monster running all over the field. If it weren't for a travel call, we would have seen her speed take over the last point. Payne catching up, going for the layout.
Too late as both players, teammates on the World Games team, equally matched in speed.
And just as Scandal has made their defensive run to bring it within 1 possession, their offense has to come back out in the field. It's been a different half for Scandal's offense, though, as they've come out and played with confidence. When offenses don't hesitate and they're not tentative in how they're throwing, you can tell in their body language Scandal is a different team at the moment. Riot still is applying great defensive pressure. Kelly Johnson has made some important plays. Wouldn't be surprised to see any outcome. This game is still ripe for the taking by either squad. Four minutes till cap. We'll see cap at 100 minutes, and we'll add 2 to the highest score. It's a game to 17, and we will not get here today unless there's just a total blitz of scoring runs.
Scandal works the disc back in. Faye to Mazafari.
Great outcut, turning it into an undercut, really selling the deep, making the defender adjust.
Back to Johnston. Disc center to Johnston again. Maddie Frey. Frey, that disc is gonna float. Indeed, by Bailey Zanizer. Zanizer was the most dominant women in the college division during her years with Oregon Ego. Returns to Seattle Riot this year.
Another miscue by the Scandal offense. And Riot can continue their defensive run.
McKibben. Stern, high release forehand to Johnson. Zanizer, Riot's offense really flowing now. Back to Stern. Burstein. McDowell. Disc, though, is back to Burstein after a pick call downfield.
Scandal has done a great job on defense of slowing Riot's pace for the most part of this game, which simply means making them dump swing the disc across the field for minimal gains and not being able to move forward.
Stern overthrows McKibben, a costly mistake for Seattle Riot.
You can see the receiver, McKinnon, trying to make multiple cuts and change and juke directions. Not on the same page, and right after a stoppage, you can see those types of errors occur in an offense a lot.
Fay into Maddie Frey. Mazafari. To Ashley Daly. Frey again. Hard mark from Ellie Burstein. Has to put it up. High stall count situation. Mercer is there.
The pressure applied by the Riot handler defenders has been great throughout this matchup. They were battle tested against Uno as a result, really bringing the defensive pressure and having to mark very tightly. Just one step off of the defender. And as a result, Scandal has been unable to reset the disc effectively and get it off the sideline.
Johnson. Miscommunication. Scandal picks up again. The blade into the end zone. Johnson looking to get the D back, not there. And Maddie Frey with the reception for DC Scandal. Again, brings it to within one.
More miscommunication. The cutter is clearing out against a poach and hesitates for a second and just waiting a little bit more to stay in your pace. Pacing can be so important. It's a matter of sitting there and evaluating the situation a little bit sooner, which Riot needs to do because Scandal is poaching, and Scandal wants you to dump swing the disc. They want you to hesitate. They want you to be tentative. Riot is showing a little bit of uncomfortableness on their defensive, offensive line. As we take a look at the goal. That uncomfortableness is just wanting to move at a faster pace and Scandal's doing a good job of saying, we're going to poach, we're going to slow you down. If you can move slowly and beat us, great. It's going to take a lot of throws to do that. Riot wants to move a little bit faster, and it's not matching what's there.
So we've reached the time cap in this game. Whoever scores this next point will add one and play to that score. Just a correction on that. I've actually been informed we're adding 2 to the score. Shortened games throughout the week meant we added 1. The games, though, are now to 17, which means we will be adding 2. Weatherford No dump options all the way across the field to Cardenas.
Your Scandal, the margin is razor thin at this point. You're still down by 1. You needed 2 defensive breaks to win this game.
Fontenette putting it deep for Griffith, and Opie Payne gives up on the D.
Griffith has been killing them throughout the second half. Payne has not been able to keep up, trying to play very aggressive defense, and maybe worthwhile to switch Sandy Jorgensen onto that matchup. Something must be done because Riot's offense is moving very fluidly, and Griffith has been a big part of that.
Riot will take 2.5 weeks off after Worlds. Their preparation has taken a long while. It's been a long season. They want to give the girls time to rest after this campaign as they look for a finals berth after having been eliminated in the semifinals in 2010 at the club championships. Long pull from Riot, centered into Faye. Faye to Maddie Frey. Mozaffari. Daly. Faye controls it. To Daly again. Scandal losing meters. Back to Mozaffari into the center. Johnston to Faye. Up the sideline. Faye comes underneath as Johnson misread the D. Mozaffari now 3 meters away. Wants the break. Dumps off to Johnston. Inside break. Kelly Johnson lays out. Johnson may have been injured on that layout. So the inside break from Johnston a bit too pinpoint. Riot with a chance to win here and advance to the finals. This game to 13. The time cap came on last point. And they'll take a timeout to try to secure the win. It's actually not a timeout. I thought Alyssa wanted it, but just wanted Titcomb to pick up the disc instead. Weatherford into Griffith. Back to Weatherford near sideline. Weatherford breaks through to Kwai. Kwai puts it deep. Riot is there. Mistimed jump. Swung over, but Weatherford can't pick it up, so a mistake for Seattle Riot. Looks like there was a call, though, before that. The call has been waved off. Possibly something that didn't affect the play, so Scandal with a chance to stay alive. Maddox picks up into McClellan. Maddox is going to put it deep. Raha Muzaffari is there, and she'll jump in to the end zone for the score.
Scandal stays alive. What a throw.
Allison Maddox wants to put the disc deep when she has it, and she does it there, finding the pickup from Philadelphia amp Raha Muzaffari.
Muzaffari has been on the opposite side of Griffith, has been the exact same producer. A lot of undercuts the majority of the time, but taking it deep. And just great vision. There's two defenders in the four-side space, but this goes over those defenders to the middle of the field.
Scandal needs a break to stay alive. Riot can win the game here and advance to the finals.
Payne has been matched up on Griffith all game long, and Griffith has been getting the best of that matchup of late. Dutchie giving some last words of encouragement.
Score update from the Fury Showdown game. Fury leads 15-10. We will likely see San Francisco Fury advance to the finals.
Payne sends it far out of bounds. Not a good pull. Payne has been struggling in this game. He will be matched up in the middle of the field on Griffith.
Rory Titcomb will take the disc to the brick mark. Poaching from the Scandal handler defenders.
With a fake deep, and there was an option. She had some steps on Payne, but with the poaching, the throw's not able to get off.
Sadler marking on Weatherford. Weatherford finds Fontenette on the near side of the field. Swung back to Alyssa Weatherford.
Jorgensen cannot play in the deep position right now because Cardenas is just hogging her on the opposite side of the field. And Jorgensen is unable to play help D.
Ambler to Kawhi. Hannah Kwai, low throw. The layout attempt from Opie. Surge may be injured. The two World Games teammates, Opie Payne and Sarah Griffith. Griffith will take an injury substitution, and Payne mad at herself as many of these players are friends off the field. And in a game like this, sometimes you just want to get the block.
Kelly Johnson's no slouch coming in for the injured Griffith, providing a different type of skill set.
So Johnson checks the disc back in. Ambler. Into space, Fontenette is there. Near miscommunication, but Weatherford grabs that out of the air. Back to Ambler. Riot. 10 steps away from the win in the berth in the finals. Rory Titcomb back to space to Ambler. Ambler swinging. Looking for the inside break. It's not there. Ambler to Weatherford. Weatherford 3 steps out. No movement from the back of the stack from Riot. They're forced to swing again. Inside break from Titcomb to Johnson. Seattle Riot for the win. Advances to the finals of the World Ultimate Club Championships.
And Scandals left to hang their heads. Great game by Riot. They had the right adjustments in the middle of the game to go on that 5-0 run. That was the key. Scandals going to look back at this game. They're going to lose it by 2. There were a couple of situations, the one hammer back a few points ago, and they had the disc on the goal line with a chance to break, where they lost this game. Both teams, I think, are pretty evenly matched. Riot with the better effort, better efficiency on offense here today. Scandals' offense is going to take a good hard look. They have the rest of the season to get some work done, but to go away empty-handed.
So it's Gwen Ambler, the veteran, to Kelly Johnson, the rookie, as we take a look. Excuse me, that was Titcomb with the assist to Johnson. Kelly Johnson, the recruit from Chicago Nemesis last year. She's in incredibly good shape, a handler, competes at an elite level in CrossFit. As the two teams will shake hands, Seattle Riot looking to advance to finals. They won a world championship 12 years ago, I suppose, at the World's Clubs in 2002 in Hawaii. Since then, though, do not have a World Ultimate Club Championships title.
Worlds is a big deal. We have another game coming up in the men's division in about an hour and a half. Johnny Bravo facing off against Revolver. Riot will celebrate this win, but it's just another step because waiting for them in finals is Fury. It's going to be another difficult matchup. Seattle versus San Francisco. More West Coast love.
Just an update, Fury is receiving on offense. It's game point, they're up 15-11. So Riot on the backs of a 5-0 run in the first half of that game. Scandals started out strong, and we thought that Riot was down and out. And Riot coach Andy Levseth very confident going into this game. The addition returning from injury of players that had a huge impact on this game. Rory Titcomb, Alyssa Weatherford, and Sarah C.O. Davis made the difference for Riot. Riot is a much different team than last year where they were eliminated by Scandal in the semifinals of the club championships.
I'm wrapping up now.
We're going to go now to a post-game interview and also into the Spirit Circle, so stick with us. This has been Liam Rosen with Brian Jones from Skyd Magazine, our coverage of the semifinals in the women's division at the World Ultimate Club Championships.
For me, right here. I think it goes without saying that it's an incredibly fun game every time we meet on the field. Obviously, one of us is always going to walk away a little disappointed because we know the fire and the fight that we can bring. And it was a pleasure and an honor to play you guys. Obviously, it's a little disappointing, but thank you for an awesome game. Thank you for a very physical, very smart game. You guys challenge us. You guys fire us up and motivate us to put in the work away from the tournaments, on the track, on the weekends, right? And I just want to say, rest assured that we're gonna come back for you. Good luck with the rest of the tournament, and thank you again. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. Good luck.
This was a really fun game. I really enjoyed being able to put everything out on the line with you, and when things got a little bit too rough, like being able to calmly talk about things and like realize sometimes contact happens, or it's not that big a deal, and we can talk through it. I really appreciated some of the on-field discussions that I had with people with a calm tone, and your team pushes us, makes us better, and it makes the whole women's division better. It really does. I'm very, very happy that we got to play you in this game. Thank you. performances. I believe that we were right. We're going to give this to somebody who made a fucking... who made an amazing play that fired me up. And so...
Sarah, is that... Are you happy to see us?
We have some stickers for you guys.
Oh, stickers.
Wait, let's do Amy first.
Oh.
These are detailed. So we'll just give them to you and you guys can. Yes. Okay. I'll just take one.
I need to see this one.
Stickers!
Why don't you explain your thing? It's our third half. Stickers. We also have stickers. But I haven't gotten a sticker.
And then we have one other gift. Ito. Now it's English, so you can just explain.
Alright, sorry.
And the whole story.
Usually works. Be honest.
So the coolest outfit I have is this big veil and a suit and jacket. And then I light my smoker. And I go and I open my beehive. And we actually put a beehive out at Dutchie and Kath's house. And so at our last practice,
I'm here with Rory and Gwen from Riot. You just won that semi-final. How does it feel?
Feels amazing. Yeah, it was a really, really fun game to play. Scandal is a phenomenal team. They challenged us a lot last season. We still have some vengeance in our eyes from our semifinals loss last year, so it's great to come out and win this one.
And yesterday you had a very tight game in your quarter, but you came out on top of that as well, of course. How was that for you, Gwen?
Yeah, our game against Una was truly amazing. It was, I think, a game that made coming to Worlds worth it for us, to be challenged physically and mentally throughout the entire match. Going back and forth, trading points, and they got a break at 15-15 to go up, and we had to come back. And it was just a true test of what we've been practicing and true test of getting each other's back. And hats off to them. They were just a phenomenal team. It was a pleasure to play with them and just battle.
And we now know that Fury won their semi-final, so you'll be playing them in the final tomorrow. Are you looking forward to that game?
Of course not. Absolutely. I mean, we love playing Fury. It's a team that we know really well. They know us really well. So you always end up battling, and it's really about who can bring it and who can execute their game plan.
And Gwen, what do you think your game plan will be? I mean, not to give away too much, but you obviously play them regularly, so you know something about them already.
Yeah, well, all weekend we've been building, getting our legs under us, playing really physical, tight person defense, and I think that that's going to carry us into tomorrow, and just trusting our athleticism, trusting the work we put on the track, and just running and putting them in the pressure cooker.
Well, good luck for tomorrow. Really looking forward to watching it. We'll be back later with the Revolver Bravo semi-final.